What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Ethereum today. We've got some very interesting things to go over, my friends. Some very simple, easy to understand concepts that suggest that the altcoin market, and by default, Ethereum's cycle is about to begin. We're about to see some immaculate growth, and I think the devil is in the details. So if that sounds good to you, hit the like button, subscribe, and let's get into this, my friends. So first and foremost, we're going to look at the charts, and then we're going to get into the exciting stuff, or something that I think is rather indicative. And we can see it in the charts, right? First, just looking at this here, that amount of volume that we had. The amount of volume that we had here coming in at this low, which was at the exact same area that we had our last low. It was like to a T, that same exact area. And we even had very similar readings of volume. Isn't it crazy? Isn't it crazy? Last time whenever we found that low, we just moved sideways for a while. We didn't have nearly as positive a reaction as we have now. It's completely possible, you know, as we lagged here. Could we lag more? It's completely possible it could happen. I don't think that we do. I think that this is rather that was a last call for anybody to sell out and panic sell, and then for all the smart money and the people with diamond hands, strong hands, to come in and buy to send this thing higher. And I really do think it's going to go higher. One way that we can measure this, and something that I think is very cool, whenever I was piecing this together earlier, I was looking at Bitcoin, and I was doing the 7-day. I was looking at CoinMarketCap here, and you can't see, it's not 100% accurate, but you can get a pretty good estimation of what this is, right? I know the CoinMarketCap logo's in here, but just pay attention to you see that little thing that keeps moving around. It says price and volume. Pay attention to what the highest volume level is here, right? It's 118 billion, 119 billion. Is that how high? 119 billion. Let's just call it at the peak there in the price. It's about 120 billion. Let's call it 120 billion dollars. And again, this is volume on a 24-hour basis. So at that point, that highest spike in volume in a 24-hour basis that we saw 119 billion dollars for Bitcoin. This is an Ethereum video, but we're going to start it off with Bitcoin. 120 billion dollars, and the market cap is about $2 trillion. Okay, and that's great. That's fine. That's not bad volume. You know, it's not crazy good volume, but it's not bad. You look at Ethereum, and you look at what it did over the last 7 days. If it would load, there we go. And again, you can't see because this damn CoinMarketCap logo's here. I wish we could get rid of that. But you can see that the volume, the 24-hour volume, as I move over, it keeps progressing higher and higher and higher. And the highest spike that we got, I think, would have been back here. What was it? Where was it? It was about 98 billion, I think I saw. $98 billion. Okay, 98 billion versus 120 billion. So Ethereum definitely had the lower amount of volume. But Bitcoin has a $2 trillion market cap, while Ethereum only has $327 billion market cap. The volume per market cap ratio is off the hook on Ethereum here, man. It's way more bullish. It's way more evident that there's some buying interest in respects to the market cap, to the valuation of Ethereum according to the volume that it received. And that buying pressure here for Ethereum as well came in at a double bottom moment in this whole area that you've been consolidating in really since March of 2024. You had a perfect double bottom with very similar amounts of volume, man. The institutions, the big dogs, they got their way. They loaded up the truck. They absolutely did. And with Bitcoin, it was a higher low and more volume still, but in proportion to its market cap, less so. This to me is a much more bullish signal. And I absolutely believe that was the low for Ethereum. I don't believe we're going to see anything lower than that, right? If we go here, we go to CoinMarketCap here and use their Crypto Fear and Greed Index. I like their Fear and Greed Index more than the actual Crypto Fear and Greed Index. I think this is a lot more appropriate. I was just making a video with Bitcoin. I think it pertains to Ethereum too. But this on here, they only show Bitcoin price and that. But if we look over here, over the last 30 days, sure, we can see that we had a low to start off, what was that? To start off January there, we had a low in the Fear and Greed Index at a 43. The Bitcoin price is at 92K. Okay, here we are now at a 38, 43 to 38. We're at more areas, we're at lower areas on the readings, higher areas of fear. I don't know, stronger fear readings. I can't say it properly. And all we've done is find a higher low with more volume too, and a more positive reaction, right? From a low here on Bitcoin to a high, that moved up 7% in a day. From a low here to a high, that moved up 12.5% a day. Dramatically more volume, higher low nonetheless. We're in more bullish of an environment now than we were whenever we had this low here in the fear and greed index. I'm sorry for burning your retinas. We've got more fear. We've got higher lows. We've got more fear and a more positive reaction than we had last time in a very similar environment. I don't know why yesterday we moved down for Ethereum 5%, for Bitcoin less than 4%, and people are already assuming that the bull market's over. I don't understand the logic of people. Those same people, by the way, the day before, they were shitting their pants at the low, and they were ecstatic whenever it was back high, right? They just flip-flopping all around, right? Don't get me wrong. I was definitely assuming that we could go lower across the board if the tariffs came into play, but I was saying we had to wait for the stock market to open. We had to wait. The main thesis of all that was that we had to wait to see how the stock markets reacted, and they opened up down, but they actually reacted rather well, and that's why I think we recovered so much with Ethereum and Bitcoin and a bunch of other cryptos. We look at the daily RSI here, if it'll let me, and we are at the oversold zone. An area that the last time we were in, quite literally in the same area we bounced from. Okay, we could go lower. It's very possible we could go lower, but I think we would have done that already if we were to have done that, or maybe we would do it now. I don't think we will, though. If we look at the 4-hour time frame, you've got a very low read in your RSI at about a 12 there. If we go lower at all, we're at 2,700. The lowest that I would think we go, we probably would close just below 2,500 on a 4-hour basis, form some bullish divergence, and start to move up. Something like that, but we don't have to. Let's see if we can make sense out of the fibs here, okay? From a low to a high. I mean, if we went down, maybe we could see a price that wicks as low as 2,400 to 2,300, somewhere in that range. We probably would close below 2,500, something like that, and then rip from there. But we might not even do that. It's completely possible that we could just continue building from here. If we look at the daily price time frame, high to low, 4-hour. Got above the 382, you're consolidating around it. It depends on what you do. You know, generally in this kind of situation, I would expect, just with how it looks, I would expect that you move up. But if you move down to your 236 area, if you move down here, that's totally fine. And in fact, with this kind of situation, I kind of wouldn't expect that you would close below here. So maybe we don't get bullish divergence, but that's okay. You don't need bullish divergence to form a bottom. Bullish divergence doesn't make it more of a bullish bottom. It just makes it more of a obvious signal for people to buy into, right? It might be more bullish to not have bullish buy signals, because then people are forced to buy in at higher prices, which will just ultimately send the price higher. But we're at 2,700 now. I do assume that within the next day to 3 days, we probably see the price return to prices above $3,000. I very much do expect that just as fast as this move happened to the downside, which it happened largely without any volume at all. The only real volume came in on this wick here from the lows and up. It only came in the form of buying pressure. All this movement down happened with very low levels of volume. I'm assuming we were going to eat it back up, so we'll likely see a very quick snap back up to about $3,200 to $3,400, maybe even above that. Who says that it has to stop here? It could absolutely progress higher, but just based on the RSI, based on what I would expect from the price, I bet we do stop 32 to 3,400. We look at the daily time frame here. That RSI bouncing off the oversold zone. Actually, we already went over that. Weekly RSI as well, right at the 40. Okay, if we were to bounce here, that's a very bullish thing as well. Higher lows. We had a downtrend in the RSI of which we've broken out of, and I think now with this higher low, we could really get started on Ethereum's next phase up, right? And I want to bring it back to that point that Ethereum did have a lot of volume down here in respects to its market cap. And I think that that's a foreshadowing of the good things to come. I want to end this video with one last thing. I want to compare Ethereum to Bitcoin. Before we do that, I want to actually look at this last cycle high to the bear cycle low there, right? That was a very quick bear cycle, by the way, man. That was astoundingly quick. Whenever you get above the 886, you get above $4,005. it's inevitable that you'll be moving up to $7,700, maybe even up to $14,000 in a very short amount of time. I do suspect that Ethereum is going to see prices above 14K. I do suspect that we will see 22K, potentially even higher than that. A lot of people have been throwing shade. They've been, what's the word I'm looking for? They've been fading Ethereum. And for a long time, for most of the cycle, I've been thinking 14K to 22K, maybe just below there, would be the likely area that Ethereum tops off. I'm starting to think that Ethereum could go all the way up to $43,000 by the end of the cycle, the 2272. And I know that sounds crazy now. It's a bold call to make, especially in the wake of something like this. But hear me out. Hear me out. We'll compare it to Bitcoin and make sense out of it in a second, okay? Everybody. And I use this logic, I think, in the last time that I talked about Ethereum, though I don't think it was on an Ethereum video. Everybody is talking about how this crypto strategic reserve is a ripoff. We were supposed to get a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Damn it, Garlinghouse. Now you're wanting to push XRP into the mix. People are so narrow-minded, okay? Sure, it's not commendable if you don't want to see XRP in the crypto reserve. But if you do want to see XRP in the crypto reserve, if you're an investor in that, that's probably a good thing. Garlinghouse is just doing right by the people that have put their trust in him. I don't think it's shady at all. The media is trying to spin it like it's this shady thing, and I think it's just a misrepresentation. Sure, he was in favor of CBDCs. Sure, he was more probably in favor of Kamala than he was of Trump, because Kamala would probably have been a more CBDC-friendly candidate than Trump would. But he's still working his magic. He's still there. He's putting in the work and trying to get XRP into the crypto reserve. I'm getting off on a whole nother tangent here. Everybody's focused. You see how easy it is to just focus on that, okay? But nobody focuses on the fact that it's a crypto strategic reserve. Why does it have to stop at Bitcoin and XRP only? Ethereum is the number 2 crypto. Ethereum had more volume coming into it based off its market cap ratio than Bitcoin did. And Bitcoin's definitely going to be in the crypto strategic reserve. If Ethereum had more volume at a market cap ratio than Bitcoin did, I'm going to take a wild guess here. It's just a feeling, but I think we loaded up the bags. By we, I mean the American government, the United States government, Donnie T and the boys and the girls loaded up the truck with Ethereum. And we are going to announce that Ethereum is going to be in the crypto strategic reserve. Remember, you guys, when Donald Trump got his inauguration, the day before, he bought what was it? Was it 47? He bought $100 million worth of cryptos. He did, and his family members did. The Trump family put in probably hundreds, if not at least over $100 million into Ethereum and Ethereum-based projects and other cryptos and stuff like that. Solana too, of course, they supported Solana. Their meme coins are on Solana, but they've been publicly and outwardly expressive toward their bullishness on Ethereum. And wouldn't it make sense that if we're going to add Ethereum to the crypto reserve, if that might be a big part, we might keep that on the hush hush. You might not reveal your secrets. Let's distract everybody with the fact that Bitcoin's not going to be it's going to be the sole proprietor of the crypto reserve. Let's distract everybody with the fact that Garlinghouse is undermining the Bitcoin reserve. It's good that we have a crypto reserve. It allows for a more broad range. It certifies and legitimizes the crypto space even more, because it's saying that Bitcoin is not the only legitimate project. There are other legitimate projects. Everybody's whining about something that's such a good thing. And again, what the obvious thing is that nobody's talking about is that Ethereum is likely the second choice. Garlinghouse is buttering the bread. He's buttering the garlic bread, trying to get Trump to get XRP into the crypto reserve, and it probably works, but maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I'll tell you what's going to work. Ethereum being in that crypto reserve. It's the number 2 crypto, and it's been at the number 2, if not the number 3 rankings its whole life. So of course, but nobody's talking about it. And it's the stuff that nobody talks about. It's the stuff that nobody's paying attention to that does the best. And Ethereum, Trump knows, okay, he's not dumb. He might not be the most intelligent person with crypto. He's only got with the program recently, but he's got people in his ear, his son and other people, his advisory boards, that are very crypto knowledgeable people. And I bet they're very aware that if Ethereum pumps, it's going to cascade the rest of the market. The altcoin season is going to start. It's going to be bullish. It's going to look good for him and for his administration with this whole crypto initiative, right, that they're taking. I'm assuming that they know that the rocket fuel, the true rocket fuel to this crypto bull cycle is Ethereum, right? That's what's going to cascade the Bitcoin dominance down. That's what's going to allow the altcoin market to boom, right? Ethereum is the mommy to a ton of altcoins, right? And I'm not saying mommy because it's the number 2. I'm saying mommy because most cryptos, at least most legitimate cryptos, they are literally ERC20 tokens. Ethereum is literally the mom, and all the little ducklings, whenever mom starts moving, they're going to follow, okay? And I don't think that we are the only people that knows that, okay? Let's get back to the charts here. We'll look at Ethereum USD, and we're going to compare it to Bitcoin, ETH, BTC, and we'll finish this video, okay? We're going to make sense out of targets that could genuinely be above $40,000 for Ethereum, okay? Let's see if we can do that. Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Huge drop. I don't know about you guys, but I think that was the low. I think that was it. I know there's a lot of speculation as if it could go lower, but if we take the low here to the high there, you went down to your 786. If you've been watching the channel since August, I've pointed out that time and time again throughout this space, for whatever reason, we've seen a lot of projects, whether it's on their Bitcoin charts, their USD charts, whatever, but crypto-related projects nonetheless, they bypassed their golden ratio, which normally you don't do. Normally on your first attempt, you find support there. But they'll bypass their golden ratio, find support at their 786, and have an immaculate bounce from there. Only if, when you bounce from here, you get back above the golden ratio. If you bounce from here and you find resistance at the golden ratio, you likely go lower. But if you break through it, it's nothing shy of spectacular. And when I say spectacular, I don't just mean overall moving up. I mean moving up, sure, but also in a time frame. It's going to be a very phenomenal bounce. And we can see Ethereum, when it likes to move versus Bitcoin, it can move. It kind of only knows one pace whenever it comes to the upside. And this, it just feels ripe, right? Like if we invert this chart, you invert that chart there, it looks like we're hanging off a cliff here, like we're about to crap right down, literally, like a V-shaped recovery or a, what do they call that, a blow off top, right? But in this kind of sense, it would actually be a V-shaped recovery, and I suspect we do. V's, by the way, did it start all the way back here? Did it start here? I don't know, but a V-shaped recovery generally moves very fast to the point of where the V started, and you go just above it. Now, V-shaped recoveries can be hard to identify. They're not hard to identify whenever they move up, but as far as where the measure move or where the end of the V would be, it's very subjective, because there's a good point to be made that it could have started all the way back here because that's the high. There's a good point to be made that it started here because that's when we started consistently moving lower. It could be here because that's when we moved out of this consolidation phase and actually had a kind of drop down that would resemble a V. A lot of people get confused and they think that it means we have to move all the way up to the high. And oftentimes with V-shaped recoveries, right? Like if you were consolidating and you drop and you have a V-shaped recovery, oftentimes you don't just move back to where it started, but you actually move a little bit through it. Okay, V-shaped recoveries, you move through where it started, but that's where people have a hard time. Everybody thinks that it just starts up here, so you expect a move that takes you all the way back there in a very short amount of time and through it, and that could happen, and I absolutely accept that could happen. I'm not trying to say that that's not what's going to happen. I'm just saying if you only think that's the possibility, you might miss the possibility of finding a V-shaped recovery that takes you somewhere lower, and then you consolidate more and still progress higher inevitably, but it just might not be what you're looking for. If you only focus on the sky, you might miss the skyline or the trees. I don't know, whatever comes before the sky, the atmosphere, I guess. Or I guess the sky, would the sky be, the sky is the atmosphere. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist. I'm a chart monkey, okay? And all I'm saying is, we're going to climb some trees to the upside here, man. On a monthly basis, we're pretty damn oversold, the weakest it's ever been versus Bitcoin. On a weekly basis, we have bullish divergence here on the Bitcoin chart. Now let's measure where I see this thing going. Okay, so by the end of this cycle, I don't believe that Ethereum is guaranteed to see new all-time highs. But I certainly do believe that we will see new highs relative to this, or higher highs relative to this. Okay, we've got higher lows. I would assume we're going to go form higher highs. Now, do we break above this? Yes or no? Maybe. If we do, we've got a long ways to go. But let's just assume at the least Ethereum goes to this target by the end of the cycle, which is at about 8.8% of a Bitcoin. Now, if you've watched my Bitcoin videos tonight, you know that I'm expecting Bitcoin to see a price of anything from about $500,000, maybe even just above that, to potentially around $1 million by the end of the cycle, you guys. Bitcoin really could. It sounds crazy, but the crazy things happen in this game, man. They really do. 8.8%. We're going to do something I haven't done in a little while. We're going to bring out the Google calculator. So 8.8% would be this, right, of a Bitcoin. If Bitcoin was worth $500,000, remember, we're trying to make sense out of Ethereum being worth 40K here, okay? I'm just saying, okay, that when we're looking at the US dollar price and we're looking at the sentiment of Ethereum and how everybody's written Ethereum off before it's ever even actually gotten started because it's a late performer. By the way, look at December in 2020 before the altcoin markets started to blow up, before we really started getting going in that finale phase of the bull cycle last time. If you look in 2020, there were a bunch of posts on x.com, videos on YouTube that were all talking about there's no alt season. Alt season is never going to happen again. We'll never have an alt season. It's all the same stuff that's happening now. It's just regurgitated, right? But people forget. All I'm trying to say is from a high to a low, 42.8K at the 2272. It might seem ridiculous, but whenever you compare it to Bitcoin, I do suspect that Ethereum will see something, if not at these highs, likely above these highs. And if we apply 8.8% to Bitcoin at 500K, Ethereum would be worth 44K. So it's completely possible that, as ludicrous as this sounds, it might not be ludicrous enough. What if we go to 77K? What would that look like if Ethereum gets above this high? And I'm not saying it does. I'm under the assumption it does, because to me that would make sense. But what if it could see a lower high? It's possible it could see a lower high. You know, if it were to stop at 7.3% of a Bitcoin, what if it went up to 12.18%, the next high, a double top of sorts? I could see that, right there, 12.18%. Let's do that. 12.18% of a Bitcoin. Nope, sorry, I did that wrong, didn't I? 0.1218% of a Bitcoin at $500,000. I know it sounds crazy, guys, but I just want to offer something that probably nobody has the balls to offer right now in this kind of circumstance with Ethereum. Ethereum has a very strong chance to not just see prices above 14K, not just see prices above 20K by the end of the cycle, but I genuinely think we could see prices as high as $77,000 by the end of the cycle. 42,000 became a whole lot more realistic to me, and 22 to 27 became a whole lot more bearish. Let's try to make sense out of this range real quick, and then we'll end the video, okay? Let's say Ethereum doesn't go above this high, like I'm assuming. Let's say I'm wrong, and I could be wrong, right? Just because I'm saying things doesn't mean they're right. I'm not a prophet. I can be wrong, okay? From a high to a low, let's say Ethereum only goes to the 618. Let's be conservative. Let's say for the rest of the bull cycle, the highest that Ethereum goes versus Bitcoin is right here, and at the lowest point of that range, it's like 5.3%, okay? 5.3%. Oh, that's 53%, my bad. 5.3%. And we take Bitcoin, and it's at $500,000. I'm telling you. 26K, we can make sense out of this area, right? 26K, but for that, Ethereum versus Bitcoin would have to grossly underperform, and I would suspect that this is just, I don't believe that. I think that we would go higher. And if that's true, then the only way that these prices are not achieved for Ethereum is if Bitcoin sees a lower than $500,000 price. And I don't think that's going to happen, man. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're bullish enough, you guys. Ethereum's at $2,700 right now, and it has 20x capabilities, if not even like near 40x capabilities or 30x capabilities, which is just nuts for the second highest market cap in crypto. But it makes sense, man. It makes sense, and I think they got some stuff that they're working on. I think there's going to be a lot of bullish narratives for Ethereum coming in the coming months, but I've got nothing else to say, guys. This video went on way longer than I meant for it to. It's probably not even going to get the views that it deserves, but the people who are watching this, you got the information you deserve. So hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I appreciate you all for being here. Take it easy. Bye.